Am I sideways? Welcome to the S Word Live. I'm going live on Facebook and on Instagram. And I think on Instagram, I'm sideways, which would be super funny. For those of us who haven't met yet, my name is Renee Hribar, and I'm a sales strategist, speaker, and author of the book, Sell Like a Mother. And I'm going to tell you secrets your mama never told you about sales and selling as a woman and to women, because it is so different. It is so different. When I first started in sales at 21 years old, all of my mentors, all of my peers were dudes, and they have a different way of doing things. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with it, but we're just built different. We are different. Look at us. We're different. Our brains don't light up in conflict. Our brains light up when we're in a community, when we're nurturing, when we're helping other people. And so today I'm going to talk about something that is coveted in the consulting world, and that is the almighty retainer client. So am I sideways? Yep, you're sideways. So I'm sideways on Instagram. So the bottom, here, I'll flip it over this way. So the bottom line is this: how do you get those amazing retainer clients and keep them? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to channel, I got my little notes here. You know how I love my notebook. I got my clipboard retired for the moment. How do you channel that inner you to keep going with your retainer clients? Thank you for all the hearts and the love. Say hello as you join. Welcome. This is a party. I'm in Detroit, Michigan. Where are you? And of course, you can watch this live on Facebook or on Instagram. Okay, so here's what I want you to do to get in the right frame of mind, because I have yet to see mindset separated from success when it comes to selling. You really got to work this territory first, right? The hardest territory to work are the 4 inches between your ears, folks. So let's get in the right frame of mind. I want you to think about the last time you had your vehicle in to the mechanic, right? Do you guys ever have like routine maintenance and it turned into something more? Or you had a little bit of a, you had something, a knock in your somewhere, right? You guys remember that old radio show, The Car Guys? People would call in and be like, I have a problem with my Subaru. And they would say like, okay, describe the noise. And then the person would literally like try to repeat that noise. Hysterical. Okay, so here we go. So I want you to channel that experience. Think about that experience. Tell me in the comments, have you had your car in for maintenance? Have you ever experienced that? Where you were the one who had to take your car in for maintenance, whether it was because there was a little hiccup in its giddy up, or whether there was an actual, oil change, something simple. So my favorite says, yeah. All right, cool. So think about that experience. You bring it in. This is your car. You need your car, right? You can't like live without your car. At least you can't live without your car in Detroit. Maybe there's other cities around the world. There's maybe a handful of cities around the world that you can rely on public transit and it's actually clean and useful and possible. Detroit is not one of them. In fact, there are many, many places across the world where that is not possible. So think about it. You need your car. You have it in. You've dropped it off. How do you feel right now? Do you feel like I'm in good hands, or, oh crap, what's going to happen? Tell me in the comments how you feel when you drop off that car. So I guess it depends on your relationship with the mechanic, right? Like, is this a mechanic you've been to a bunch of times? Is this a trusted environment? Did your best friend just have her car in there, and so you got the thumbs up, this was a good, legit place, they're not going to take advantage of you? Okay, great. So let's assume that that is the case. Let's assume that Pam says, I'm nervous, right? So we're all, even if we have all this, we're always a little bit nervous, because we know what? Once they get going under the hood, hey, Tamara, how you doing on Instagram? What's up, girl? Once the person goes under the hood, what's going to happen? They're going to find more stuff, right? So who here is a consultant, and you've signed one client, whether you're in real estate, whether you make products, you're consulting people on their better health, you're consulting people on their better physical shape. I know we've got yoga teachers here, real estate agents here. We've got products and services people here. So whether you're listening live or on the replay, let me know about your business. Put in the link to your business Facebook page. Let's get to know each other. Let's click on links, right on? So when you've signed one client, when you have one person that you're working with, you're the mechanic now. They're the person sitting in the waiting room. They're a little nervous. Even if you've come highly recommended, even if you've done great work, now you have to what? You know you're going to find more stuff. They've hired you for one very specific thing. They want you to do one thing. and you've done that thing. And the time that that thing is almost, that you've accomplished it is almost up. So if, for example, in this case, you're the mechanic and you're under the hood and the oil change is almost done and the routine maintenance check is almost finished, they always do what? They always go back out into the lobby, or they call you, depending on if you've left or not, and they talk to you before they close the hood, before they take it off the lift. Is that right? Can you guys agree with me on that? Tell me yes if you remember that experience, if you remember being the customer on that side. So if you remember being the customer, it's going to help you be the seller a little bit better. So because, again, empathy in sales, especially women selling to other women, we need to light up when we are showing empathy, when we're caring about someone else. So you need to understand where the other person is coming from. So you have to channel your inner mechanic and then channel the inner experience that you've had being in the waiting room. Your car is still on a lift. It went in for routine maintenance. The mechanic comes out and wants to talk to you for a minute. Right on? You feel a little nervous. You're like, oh, geez, what did they find? What are they going to rake me into now? Right? But here's the thing. You need your car. You don't want it just running okay. You also don't want to get raked over the coals. So this is a person that you has established your trust. You've already purchased something from them. You're saying, okay, well, tell me what's going on. And they always say what? This is step number 2. I noticed, okay, so step number 1 is before the work is done, you set up a call. You go out if you're the mechanic, you go out in the lobby and you talk to them. or whatever it is, whether you're setting up a call or whether you're going to meet them in person, before the work is done, you make that appointment to talk to them. Step number 2 is you start with all the things that you noticed while you were under the hood. These are the secrets, my friends, of how to have retainer clients, okay? So here's what I want you to do. It says you need a filter with wipers. Right. So Sandra over on Instagram is saying, I need a filter, I need wipers, blah, blah, blah. Well, sometimes, absolutely, we do, right? Have you ever been in a rainstorm when your wipers didn't work? It stinks. It's no fun. So they're not trying to just pull one over on you. There is a lifetime limit on those wipers. So if they didn't present that information to you, how would you even know it was a possibility, right? Okay, so it is their moral obligation to tell you if your brakes are going bad. It is their moral obligation to tell you if your wipers are going bad, because it might affect your visibility and your traction on the road when you're driving in the road with your kids in the car. And that is not okay. Okay, so they have to at least tell you. So I want you to feel like that mechanic and think it's my moral obligation before I'm done with this person to let them know what I noticed. Can I get a heck yeah in the comments if you're with me so far? Are you with me so far? You've already gotten the client. Right? You've already done the work, but it's almost done. It's nearly done. Now you want to have a conversation with them about what else you noticed. Why is it so important? Because it's your moral obligation to tell them. Because if you didn't, how are they going to know? How are they ever going to know? I am my co-host of the Beam Women's Conference. The one thing she loves to talk about is it's not about do you know what questions to ask. It's that most people don't even know that there are questions to ask. So in this case, I want you to channel the inner customer, channel the inner mechanic. You've all been in this situation before. You know now the role of the mechanic. You also know how the customer feels. I want you to empathize with both sides, and I want you to understand that now, as you, being the mechanic's role, you have a moral obligation to tell them what you noticed. Now, that's number 2. Number 3, the final secret here is you can give them lots of different options on ways to move forward, right? You haven't completely finished the work yet, but you want to have this conversation because it's your moral obligation to tell them all the things that you noticed that still need to be done, that require their attention, right? Irina says, Sasha, heck yeah, oh yeah. Okay, I got a lot of oh yeahs here, exactly. So you've signed this client, you're working with them, you're helping them, they're 90% there, they're almost done, you have to have this conversation with them. But here is where people miss. They miss the opportunity. They think, well, it's either give them the wiper blades and the filter or nothing. No, because you're not going to see just 2 things. I guarantee you that at this point, all of your experience and all of your education are going to be Very key in your next conversation. This is where you begin to educate that customer who you've already built a relationship with. They've already paid you something. You're going to educate them on what they should be thinking about next. And you're going to take on that role of trusted advisor. I want you to say trusted advisor in the comments if you're with me so far. Trusted advisor. This is your chance to be that trusted advisor so that no matter whether they continue to work with you right now, because you will make them an offer for continued support or an offer for referral, some sort of continued work, or you're going to set up a call for down the road. So remember now, go back to that dealership where you're sitting in the lobby, you're the customer, the guy comes out, your car's still on a lift, says, listen, I was under the hood and I noticed that your brakes are nearly done. We could change the brake pads now, or we could change them in 6 weeks. Right on? So the bottom line is I don't want to be driving down the road when my brake pads go out. And I don't want to drive an unsafe vehicle. And so it's his moral obligation to tell me, and it's my option to choose now or later. So here's where I don't want you to lose this. This is the important part. You take on that role of trusted advisor. You educate them. You teach them about the things that you noticed. And then you give them a chance to either choose pieces of it now. Hey, we can handle this part now and it's only this much. Or we can handle all of it now and it's only this much. Right? Or we can handle part of it and then come back in 6 weeks. So if you have a client that you're nearly done working with, I want you to connect with them. I want you to notice. I want you, it's your moral obligation. And I want you to have that conversation where you either offer extended service, extended support, offer for referrals. If you're in real estate, you always want those referrals. They're going to move again. They're going to have somebody they know that moves, right? Or at the very least, set up a call right before your current work ends. This is the key. Oh my gosh, if you just do this part, if you forget everything else I said, if you just do this part, set up an appointment. It doesn't have to be a coffee. It doesn't have to be in person. It can be literally a phone call right now, on the books, on your phone, on your calendar, right now, before that work is over, where even if they're not going to buy anything else, even though you think they should because you've noticed a lot of things, you set up that next call to check in. Who here loves those free maintenance calls from a trusted advisor, right? I love the fact that I can put it on my books and I know that it's on the books. I can always change that appointment, but I'm gonna make that decision now to have a 10-minute phone call 6 weeks, 12 weeks down the road, and it's on the books now. So that when I call them back, whether, in this case, I'm the mechanic now for that maintenance check-in. How's it going? The last time we talked, you had this, this, and this. And I had noticed X, Y, and Z. How is that going? You ask the question, and then you take on that role of trusted advisor. And then they say, well, I tried this, and I tried that. And then you can ask more questions. Where are you looking for support now? And then all I want you to do is offer more support. Do what you do best. Continue the love. You are empathetic. You are loving. You are caring. You are supportive. You are helpful. And all you're doing is guiding them down the path. If you don't, how are they going to know? Haven't you ever seen somebody walking around in life and their life is a hot mess and you're like, where is their mother? Well, you can take on that role of trusted advisor. You can help them. By offering them, by noticing, by telling them what you noticed, by offering them continued support, you are not hurting them. You are helping them, and it is your moral obligation to do so. Because if you notice it and you're the expert, you need to at least bring it up. And at the very least, if they're not ready to move and take action on it now and pay you for it, then set up another call in the future. 6 weeks, 12 weeks down the road, a 10-minute phone call check-in. These are my retainer client secrets. You will never go broke if you use what I'm telling you every single Wednesday. The S Word Live comes to you live for free right on my business Facebook page and Instagram. There's no reason why you cannot make the money that you came to make in your business. if you've been for 10, 15, 20 years learning how to be the expert in your field, there is no reason why you can't also use Planet Internet to help grow your business, to expand your territory, and to help more people. I implore you. So share this, love this, like this. If you know anybody who's in any one of these service industries that I've mentioned today, it is your moral obligation to share it with them. Share and share alike. I'm super glad that you guys came by today. Thanks, Instagram. Thanks, Facebook. Have a super awesome day. Happy Wednesday. Woo-woo.